Yesterday I made this little floss wrapped decorative hoop, and let me tell you, I am obsessed. So today I'm going to teach you how I did it. Hi, I'm Ford, and welcome to the Caterpillar Cross Stitch YouTube channel. Alright, I'm going to just jump right in here, but please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and leave me a comment. It takes just a second, but if you've ever learned something from me, that's a great way for you to pay me back, because it really makes a big difference. I want to hit 100,000 subscribers this year, and I'd love it if you were one of them. Now, I love to display my cross stitches in hoops. I like that I don't need any specialized equipment. I like that it doesn't really look like anything else that you would display. And I really like that it is so medium specific. The only thing you ever see displayed in embroidery hoops is fiber arts. So I like that it is specific to the context of the medium that I like to work in. But after a while, once you've got a certain number of them hanging on your walls, the just plain wood hoops, even if they're nice high quality ones, get a little bit monotonous. So I am always on the lookout for new and interesting ways to decorate those hoops, to kind of zhuzh them up a little bit. So when I saw a friend who had done a cross-stitch hoop wrapped with just spare embroidery floss, it seemed like an obvious option to me, especially since, as someone who's been cross-stitching for years, on more than one occasion, a friend or a family member has given me a well-meaning but perhaps not optimally researched gift in the form of embroidery floss that is maybe not as high a quality as what I would normally use, or is in a color that I don't particularly like, or something like that. And so I have a few of these kinds of things laying around, like these store brand cotton floss here in variegated colors, which are pretty, but the floss is not double mercerized like the DMC stuff that I like to use. So it's kind of scratchy, it has a tendency to snag and tangle, and it's just not great for stitching. It's also kind of hard to find a use for variegated thread in general, and if I'm gonna do that, I don't want to be messing around with lower quality floss while doing that. But something like this is a really great way to use up some floss like this, whether you got it at a thrift store or an op shop or a secondhand store or whatever you call them, or maybe at a yard sale or a garage sale, or for certain very specific geographic regions, a stoop sale. You probably have something like this lying around, and if you're like me, you probably have something like this lying around and are loath to get rid of it, just like me. I hate waste, so I love to find a way to use something like this, and that's what we're going to do today. Now, we're not going to be really using any specialized equipment, but we are going to need some embroidery scissors for trimming. I am going to want to use a bobbin, and you'll see why in a little while. And then it's nice to have a darning needle. I like a darning needle because it is sharp and long and has a large eye. So it's much easier to get all 6 strands of floss through it, which we're going to need to do in a little while. So to begin with, we are going to need an empty embroidery hoop. So since I sewed this one in a previous tutorial, I can actually take this out and it'll stay intact, which is nice because I'm only going to be working with the outside part of the embroidery hoop. And then the next thing I'm going to want to do is to take my skein of floss and wrap it onto the bobbin. Now, this does use up quite a bit of floss, which is why, again, it's a great way to use up a floss that you wouldn't use otherwise. This little 4-inch hoop that I did yesterday used a full skein of this variegated floss. That's 8 meters of floss for a 4-inch hoop. And that math holds out quite consistently. You need 2 meters of floss for every 1 inch of hoop diameter. So a 4-inch hoop is going to use 8 meters or 1 full skein. But with the 6-inch hoop that I'm going to be doing today, we're going to need a total of 12 meters or about 1.5 skeins of embroidery floss. So I've got 2 skeins of this variegated floss here, and I'm going to take my first one and I'm going to wrap it onto this bobbin, just because it'll be easier to handle than using the full skein like this. But so that you don't have to watch it, I'm going to use the magic of editing. Yeah, that was much easier. Okay, so then the next step is to start my wrapping. So I'm going to want to completely remove the screw from my hoop, and I'll show you why for that in a minute. So now I'm ready to start wrapping. So To start my floss, all I do is I take the end of my floss and I jam it down in between the screw bracket and the wood of the hoop. And that will hold it tightly while I do those first few wraps. So then I just start wrapping it around it, and I want to make sure that each wrap, especially here when I'm starting, lays flat right against the one before it. And I also want my wraps to run perpendicular to the direction of the wood, because if they start getting kind of slanty, it'll be really hard to fix it down the line. So I'm going to use one hand to wrap, and then anytime I need to stop or hold tension or something, I will just use the other hand to hold the thread in place while I do that. Now once I've got a few wraps around and it's all going to stay in place, then I can stop doing that thing where I have to let go of my floss each time. And instead, I can just bring it through that gap. So I make my wrap, I hold that in place, I bring it through that gap so that I don't have to keep letting go of my bobbin. This hoop really wants to close up. It does not like keeping a gap there, which is making it a little bit more difficult. But with each pass, I can just kind of push the hoop out of the way so that I can do the next pass there. So this saves a ton of time that I would normally spend switching hands or putting that bobbin down with each pass. Now you can already start to see, because of this variegated floss that I'm using, the colors are starting to change. And we'll get those gradual color shifts. Then as I need to, I just start unraveling a little bit more and more each time. And anytime I'm going to let tension off of my wrapping hand, I use the thumb of my other hand to hold that tension there. I also routinely use my thumb to kind of scooch that floss up there to make sure that each little wrap of floss lays flat and flush right against the prior one. Now, just like with stitching, I am eventually going to get some twisting in the thread, and it's going to make it start to bind and tangle up. So all I do there is just stick my floss into the slits on my bobbin, let it dangle so it untwists itself, and then I can get going again. It's kind of slow and meticulous, but especially at the start, before you really kind of get the hang of the motions involved, it's a good idea to move nice and slowly. And in fact, I would recommend getting a little 4-inch hoop and doing a small one before you start the one you're actually going to want to use. Because you'll find that after not very much of this, maybe just half an hour or 40 minutes, you'll find you get a lot better at it. And you'll go back and you'll look at those first couple inches that you did and you'll be like, oh, that wasn't very good. And so it's a good idea to do a practice one before you do the final one that you're going to want to actually display or use as a gift or whatever, just because you are going to get better at it very quickly. And you don't want those first couple inches of practice to be in your production run. Or you could just plan on doing a couple of inches and then unwinding it all, but that sounds annoying. So now I'm going to go ahead and use up the rest of this skein of floss so that I can show you what happens when we get to the end of it. But you will get to watch that in fast forward. While I'm doing that, I want to remind you to sign up for the Caterpillar Stitch Club email newsletter. You'll get all the latest news about upcoming projects, stitch-alongs, retreats, socials, that kind of stuff. Plus, you'll get a free ebook with 10 free PDF cross-stitch patterns in it as soon as you sign up. So hit the link down there in the description or in the pinned first comment so that you don't miss out on all that. All right, now that I've really fallen into a groove on it, I kind of want to show you how I'm doing this because it's moving much faster now that I've started doing it this way. I'm keeping my thread nice and long so that when I go up over the top, I can just bring it over to where the gap in the hoop is and just run it down the side and push the hoop out of the way so that I can keep on spiraling without having to stop with each pass. This is much easier than the way I was originally doing it yesterday, where I was passing the bobbin through with each pass and picking it up and grabbing it. It was so hard to maintain tension that way. So with this method, I'm able to keep my wrappings under tension with each pass. I use my thumb on my other hand to make sure that it doesn't get to a bad angle, but then I can just keep on moving around non-stop, and it gets a lot faster and it gets a lot smoother. My wrappings are super beautiful and smooth there. I'm very happy with those. So back to fast forward for you. If you are also constantly on the lookout for new and interesting things to do with cross stitch, then I can't overstate the value of being in a cross stitch community, like the Caterpillar cross stitch community. There's a Facebook group with tens of thousands of stitchers, and then there's also the Instagram, and there's just amazing amount of support and inspiration and commiseration for when the frog visits your house and that kind of stuff. And if you are not in those spaces, you're totally missing out. So make sure you check those out too. Okay, so I've used up my entire first skein of embroidery floss here, and I'm down to just a little bit at the end here. So now we need to finish this skein so that we can start the next one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just set this down for a second. I'll have to put tension back into that last wrap later. But then I will go ahead and thread my big old darning needle. Okay, there we go. I've threaded my darning needle. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that needle and I'm going to stick it under the last few wraps here. Hopefully I left myself enough slack. Now because of the curve of the hoop, we're not going to be able to go super far, but we can go a little bit better if we go diagonally. I'll push that needle through those few stitches, making sure not to stab myself. And then once that's pulled through, I just want to guide this last wrap down and flat and flush while I pull that tight under there. Now the friction of those stitches is such that I don't need to worry about that any further. So I can just go ahead and trim that tail off of there. And I want to do that on the inside of the hoop, even though it's harder, because that will then be hidden. The outside is what's going to be visible when we have a stitch on display inside there. So now I can go ahead and wind my other skein onto the bobbin and go on with my wrapping. Okay, now that I have wound my floss onto the bobbin, I've gone ahead and threaded it onto my darning needle again. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tuck that under just one or two of the strands. I don't want to just tuck it underneath like I did to finish the other one, because it's going to get kind of bulky right there. So what I'm going to do is actually pull just a little bit through there and then double it back so that I'm wrapping it over itself to secure it rather than tucking it under those wrappings that I've already done in order to secure it. So I'll just hold that little bit of tail there with my offhand like that, and then go back to wrapping just like I was doing before. Keep on trucking. Okay, I've made my way the rest of the way around the hoop, and there are a couple of ways that you can end it when you get there. One is to use the darning needle and stuff it underneath some of the wrapping, just like we did when we switched skeins. But I'm going to end it just like I started it. I just tucked it really tightly underneath the bracket of the hoop, and I'm just going to trim that little end off right there. Now it feels like I used more than 1.5 skeins of floss, so maybe my math was a little bit off, or maybe I was wrapping tighter this time. But 2 skeins of floss is definitely enough to complete a 6-inch hoop, so that at least is good to know. So now all I need to do is go ahead and reinstall my tensioning screw here. And I can put my project back on there. Another nice thing about having wrapped it this way is that it does add additional friction to the hoop. So if you're using the tension of the hoop to pull that tight as you put it on there, the floss will actually help with that. Now I picked this color of floss because of how nicely it complemented the colors that were in this project already, but I am just obsessed. It's so beautiful. I love how it looks. I'm super, super happy with it. And I didn't have to buy anything. Now, it took me some time, I'd say probably about 1.25 hours or so, to wrap that entire 6-inch hoop. So there is a time investment there, but you cannot argue with the results. It's gorgeous. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I'm super happy with that. So that is all I had for you this week. I do want to thank you so much for watching. For Caterpillar Cross Stitch, my name is Ford, and I will see you next week.